Hey guys, Joe from Cincinnati here. So you're probably watching this video as part of the series that I'm making. I'm kind of copying Frotop with the format of this, where I make a deck tech and then I make games with that deck. But I mean, like, what? He owns that format? Fuck that. So we were originally going to do a deck tech with him, where he was going to talk about Crab Unicorn and then play it. We did that like the weekend before the restricted list was posted, and he played 3 games, and he was setting up to post the whole set of videos, and then the restricted list dropped, and it just completely invalidated like half of what we were talking about because so much of it was revolving around like setting up combos with policy debate and using charge for economy, and just like the entire meta shifted when the restricted list came out. I mean, it doesn't look like it shifted because Birmingham was between Crab and Scorpion, but um, the game feels better. I would say I think most people would agree that the game feels better now. I know I do because I'm Crab and Crab is tier 1 right now. But um, anyway, there are 3 matches that I consider like what you need to know to succeed with Crab Unicorn, and that is Scorpion, which I just recorded 1 game. It's probably the first one on this list. Um, the second is Crab Mirror, because there's going to be more crabs. There's going to be plenty of crabs, a lot of crabs going around. um, Crabs are going around, guys. Uh, I'm a child. So that's an important one. And then Crane. Crane, they were basically ignored by the restricted list. I don't know why FFG thought Crane didn't need any restriction at all. I think Guest of Honor's overtuned. I think Yoshi is broken as shit. Um, and then they restrict Forge Edict, but then they leave Voice of Honor alone. It didn't make any sense to me because Voice of Honor is a truly free cancel, assuming they have honor characters, which they're actually kind of built to have a bunch of fucking honor characters. So I'm surprised that they completely dodged the restricted list, but the fact that they did means that they are now among the best in the game, along with Crab and Scorpion. Some will say Dragon, but I've seen Dragon that's not piloted by Anil, uh, Mind's Desire, and I just don't. I'm not afraid of it. It'll win games. Like, don't get me. It'll win fucking games. I'm not saying that I will never lose to Dragon. In fact, I'm playing a Dragon tomorrow in the top 64 of the Season 6 Cup, and I bet I lose that game. Not because I don't think that I will, but you you assume that you're gonna lose every game that you play, right? That's what confidence is, right? So if I lose to Dragon tomorrow, I'll feel pretty shitty about not considering them one of the top 3 decks, but I think I'll be fine. Um, the Dragon thing, they're a fine clan, but they're not like gangbusters. They're not like tier 1 in my opinion. I think they're like tier 2. Um, for the most part. So anyway, right now let's do a crab mirror, and this is about against Schroeds. Schroeds is another quality player. I try and keep my videos on this channel to be quality players because I think that L5R, there's a lot of not great players, which is fine. They're learning or they're casual. But I personally don't learn a lot when I play against inexperienced players because the game is so focused on the fundamentals of fate management and conflict choice and properly defending and properly attacking that you can, when you're playing against like I don't want to sound elitist, but like if you're playing against someone who like you don't recognize or is not in the Discord league, or you don't have like a verification of like how good they are, there's a very solid chance that they're a casual player, or especially on Jigoku, like someone who doesn't really have the fundamentals down, that would make a game a learning experience, if that makes sense. Hopefully I didn't come off like an asshole when I say that, but it's just the way I feel. Schroeds, he is the Hatamoto from Atlanta for Crab, so he's a good player, the Atlanta Kote. Uh, he's a very good player. He's in my pod, so this is actually a pod game. I don't typically post my pod games because I don't know. Sometimes they're not great games. They're not learning experience games. Sometimes they're blowouts in certain scenarios. So I don't want to like just post pod games just because they're pod games. If it's a good game, I would post it. But sometimes like I'll draw well and just mm, beat my opponent and everything. So I wanted to post this game because I know it's a good player. It's a quality player from a Kote that he performed well in and got Hatamoto. And you know, crab mirrors. I was forced to play this because it's on my pod. I don't seek out crab mirrors, so this is a one in rare occasion chance to play a crab mirror. Yeah, so um, I'm taking a little bit of time here. I had to like plug my computer in and do a little bit of here and there. So right, I'm looking at. I like that Iron Mine because that means that I can pretty much ignore the way the crab turn one thing going on. And then I get another Iron Mine. So I get Satoshi and Shuichi, which is not a great flop because you'd like little guys, but I do have a skirmisher in hand, and the way the crab will at most just take up an Iron Mine. I get rid of one of my mountains. I don't know. I think I might have been testing 3 mountains in this game. I don't remember. And he flips a Stoic Magistrate, a Borderlands Defender, a Witch Hunter, and a Guardian. So he has kind of like a similar problem of like he doesn't have a lot of great one-cost characters to play to protect his big guys, but he also doesn't have Iron Mines. I have fucking Iron Mines. So like I don't really need to worry about Way the Crab right now, whereas he does. So he's in a kind of an awkward scenario, and he does take a little bit of time thinking because it's admittedly a hard decision. Like, how do you approach this fate phase? Um, he says, I had a plan. So he plays a Heated Guardian, and I was like, maybe he plays something else, but then he didn't, so he just passes. So I use Satoshi, and look at that, I flip up fucking Karada District. I was looking for a Satoshi dupe just so I could have 3 fate on Satoshi turn 1. But Satoshi was face down in that province, so I didn't get to see the second Satoshi. But I did get Karada, which is better. I mean, like, Karada District just wins games against Crab, and it's sad, but it's true. So I have a skirmisher. He says, "Man, this is tough." So yeah, this is a tough game from the start for him because he's facing down Iron Mines and Karada Districts with just a Heated Guardian. Now he has 7 fates, so he's got plenty of options, but right now his board state is not really all that intimidating. I'm first player. I pass because I'm not gonna do shit. Like I'm not walking into your fucking defend the wall, buddy. I'm just gonna let you come to me. I have all the cards at this point. It's a figure of speech. I am in the advantaged position right now. I'm not going to blow it by attacking. And what I was thinking is I was like, I'm going to defend with Satoshi and play Mountain. That seems like a good plan, right? Like you just defend with the Mountain, and then he's standing, and then I get to live happily ever after. But I wanted him to like play cards to win, so I passed, and he did. So I play a Watch Commander. Now, it might feel like it's early for a Watch Commander, especially since I only have 2 fate, but it's never too late to start pressuring their honor. And then he bonsais, so he's looking at he just spent 2 honor to win this Void Ring, which is not even going to immediately affect the board. Like, yes, my Satoshi is down a fate, but it's not a big deal. And I did not end up mountaining him because I decided I'd rather have a conflict character come out into play. Use one of these Iron Mines, right? Like, you don't really. I already know I want to keep Karada District, so I don't really want to keep both Iron Mines. So I want to use the Iron Mine. And hold on, so I'm going a little fast here. I wanted to use one of these Iron Mines because I didn't want to go into the next round. I didn't want to like discard Shuichi and then keep 2 Iron Mines in a Karada District because then I'm just not getting any characters. So I wanted to play a character and then uh, use one of the Iron Mines. So then I have an Iron Mine next round for Satoshi, but then I get to keep I can replace two cards, Suichi and then something else. So I had a choice between the Guardian and the Wayfinder. The Guardian, I was like, well, his only guy on the board right now is Bowed, so there's really no reason to play a person with stealth or with covert. So I may as well just play the Wayfinder, get a little bit of information, and I uncovered Defend the Wall, which I would presume that I don't want to go to anymore. And then he does something very interesting. I don't know if it's the right play. He plays a Spyglass on his Heated Guardian because I now have no fate. I used all my fate, so I can't Karada District him anymore. And then he Gaijin customs himself to ready his character so that he can block this attack, or so he can block this attack. Well, I now no longer have anything to gain by attacking because I'm not going to get the ring. He's going to get the ring, and then he's also going to get a card draw from this Spyglass. So why the fuck would I declare an attack? Like, there's no reason. He already passed his second conflict, so he wasn't going to declare his second conflict. Then he plays a reprieve. So just to recap here, he got a bad flop. I got a really good flop. I flopped even better when I got the Karada District. Luckily for him, I didn't get to use it because I used all my fate to, play Watch Commander and the Ayuchi Wayfinder. But he still was able to spend 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He spent 5 cards. I spent 2, and both of them are still on the board. So he spent 3 cards, and then he is attaching 2 cards. So he's down to 4 cards in hand. I still have 7. He played a reprieve on this Heated Guardian with a Fine Katana and a Spyglass to keep it around for another turn. I don't disagree with the play, but I would have just put 1 fate on the guy on turn 1. You know what I mean? Like, he has the fate. He should have just put a fate on him. That's kind of like wasting a reprieve, which it's not wasting it, but it's just like inefficiently using your fate. What I have a feeling is he probably bought this guy thinking he was going to buy the Witch Hunter, because that would be, he had 7 fate, or no, he had 8 fate. So he's like, I'll buy this guy for 1, and then I'll play the Wayfinder with 2, or sorry, the Witch Hunter with 2, and then I'd have 1 fate left. But then he was just like probably thinking like, no, it's not worth it. I'm going to save my fate and then play all these attachments and things like that. The problem is if that was what his plan was, he should have put fate on the Guardian to keep it around longer if he's going to reprieve it and all that shit. So I think that he had a little bit of indecision. He saw my flop, and my flop was great. 2 Iron Mines means I don't care about Way of the Crab, Karada District, Satoshi. He probably was a little bit like, shit, I do no fate because I'm going to buy. No, wait, I'm not going to buy anything. I'm going to pass. So that's probably what happened. It happens to everyone. You can't be perfect all the time. And I kept Shuichi. I don't know. Did I keep him? Yeah. Yeah, I kept Shuichi, which is odd because I don't fucking buy him. So it's like if I was gonna fucking, what? I don't know. It's weird. Um, I play a Guardian or that thing with a Fate because I'm thinking like, hey, look at that. Here's a Shuichi that's gonna be unprotected unless he plays another save. I can get on that. So I take a Spyglass. Oh, by the way, that's another thing. I bid 1. I bid 1. He bid 4. That's what I was talking about with the hand parity. So he had 4 cards in hand. I had 7. So I had plus 3 cards on him. So if I bid 1, he bids 5. I'm only down 1 card. So I was able to take honor and still have about the same size hand, which is what you want. As long as I'm telling you, as long as you have the same size hand as your opponent, you're doing fine with Crab because you have Spyglasses and shit. So I declare a military, coverting the Guardian. I figure it's like, wait, what? What are you doing, Joe? Military fire, there you go. And I run the meditations, which is a shame. That's kind of a bummer. Because I put a fate on that guy specifically to, like, I don't know, not lose him at the end of the round, if that makes sense. So I lose it, and then he assassinates Vanguard Warrior. I use the Iron Mine to save it because it's like, why wouldn't I? Um, it's gonna keep Satoshi around. But what that means to me is he probably has one. He probably has a save, or he has a Haruma Skirmisher in his hand. A save or Haruma Skirmisher. That's what he has in his hand. And he was expecting me to like Vanguard Warrior Satoshi and then lose him in the Fate phase. That's what I'm thinking has happened. So he does a water conflict, and then I immediately just weigh the crab. Now, here's what I was talking about. I think I mentioned it in my deck tech. So I got it a little backwards. I attacked with the Haruma Skirmisher. He defended with a guy, but he mountained him, so he's still ready. So he still has 3 ready characters. I had a bowed guy. That's how it happened. So if you're watching my deck tech, and I think I was describing this scenario, a Strid Yasuki and a Hida Guardian. Yeah, I attacked with the skirmisher and stealthed the Hida Guardian because the Hida Guardian could stop me and the Strid Yasuki could not. So he defended with his Shuichi, but then he used a mountain so it doesn't bow him. So now I had a bowed guy, he has nothing but ready guys, so I just play away the crab. So now he has to choose. Do I remove the Strid Yasuki, or do I remove the Hida Guardian? The 3-1 that's sitting at home that's, going to do stuff. So I was thinking like win-win. He either doesn't get to use a Strid Yasuki, or he loses a 3-1 that could potentially buff up Shuichi even further. So that's what I was thinking. I was like, I got him. And he's at 2 honor, by the way, because he assassinated when he had 5 honor left because of my low bid. And then he plays Censure, which is crazy to me. Not crazy. It's a tough call. Yeah. He had the favor, and then he played a Censure, but now he has at 1 honor. So now all I have to do is just like sit tight. You know what I mean? I just have to sit tight and ride this out. And then I play Mountain, and he says like, I thought so. Maybe I should have saved the cancel for Mountain. But now it's like he can't actually play any cards anymore in that conflict, so I just won. So I played a Mountain. Guy's still ready. I won the conflict on defense. Now, it was a non-ideal way to use Mountain because ideally with Mountain you'd love to get 3 conflicts out of a guy, or at least 2 defenses to really make it really worth it. But he has Shuichi. He's just gonna covert Satoshi, so I'm not getting that second defense. So I think that I think I just attack with it now. I think I just attack with Satoshi. And I can just attack into Meditations because it's blank right now, because none of my guys have Fate. Oh yeah, I just do a political air conflict. I'm like, haha, I'm just gonna like do it to it, you know what I mean? So he has a Talisman of the Sun right here. And so what I was thinking here is I was like counting it up. I was like, I got 9 political, he's got 8 political on the board. He can go up to 10 just by doing box. So what I was hoping he was gonna do, what I really wanted him to do, was I wanted him to like move this shit over to defend the wall so that he could recover some honor. That's what I wanted him to do. What I did here was, I was thinking like maybe if he defends with these 2, which I knew he would because he has to win this conflict. He would box, and then he would be winning, and then I could like pass, and then excuse me, then he would Talisman over to defend the wall to go back up to 3 honor, and then I'd assassinate the Hida Guardian or something. Well, let's see here. What do I do? That would put him at 10. I'd be at 9. Then I'd play a Spyglass to go up to 10, or I'd play this thing to go up to 10. And then he cannot play another card, so it's like kind of like he'd just be dead on board. That's what I was hoping for, is him to go to defend the wall to try and recover his honor. What he does end up doing though, yeah, he goes to Shameful Display, which is the right call I think. Uh, I did not have enough strength. I was only able to get to 9. So I could not get up to 10 at that point. So I couldn't win there. So he wins the conflict. And Shuichi's still ready. He's going to do his thing. You know, he's going to fuck around. Luckily, I have this. He said, geez, dude, way to make me nervous. Forgot about. He's asking if I forgot about Shameful. And I said, no, I was hoping you'd go to defend. Like, to try and recover. So, I have him suck at 1 honor, so it's not a bad position to be in. And then he does an Earth Ring here, which I can't stop, but I remove a fate from him with meditations, and then now I can like move it away from Karada with Spyglass, with Talisman, not Spyglass. Then I can like move it to what do I move it to? Like probably Manicure Garden. Yeah, just gain a fate, you know. Just grab a fate off a character. I play Reprieve on Satoshi so that he can't be Way of the Crabbed. And then he breaks Manicure Garden, but I get to keep my Satoshi around for another round. Because I played a Reprieve on him. I tell you, man, playing against a deck that does not have attachment control, it's just the best. Like, it's just so good. I don't have to worry about my Reprieves being discarded and shit like that. So, and anyway, and then look at this fucking flip. I have 8 Fate, and I flip a Favorable Ground, another Iron Mine. I flipped all 3 Iron Mines in the top 15 cards, and then a Vanguard Warrior. So it's like, not a great flip for me. But what I do know is that he's probably going to do an Air Ring, and he's probably going to come in with like either Shuichi to covert somebody, but of course I have Favorable Ground, so that's less valuable now. So he has 9 Fate left, so you can buy like Kasada or something like that. Right? That's what he does. So his board is like so much better than mine. Like, it's ridiculous how much stronger his board is than mine. I have this towered up Shuichi and a Vanguard Warrior. He has a Shuichi, 2 Guardians with a holding, and then Kasada. It's just not great. It's not going. I mean, it's going my way. I'm winning this game right now, but this particular conflict is not going fantastic. And he says, like, how many holdings do you run? I say 7. I've seen 5 in the top 16 of my deck. It's just a lot. But I've seen all 3 of my Iron Mines, so I can't complain about that either. So he has to decide. He basically has to do an Air Ring. Because if he doesn't, and I find a way to win an Air Ring, he just loses the game. So he has to declare conflict. It has to be an Air Ring. I know that. It's just a matter of, like, who does he defend with? Who does he attack with? Like, does he do Shuichi and stealth my guy so that I have to use my Favorable Ground? Not that it matters. Does he do Kasada? He says if I had 3 honor, it'd be different. He says, really just gotta hope you're missing certain cards. So he's attacking with Kasada and a Heated Guardian with a Water Ring, which... Wait, why the Water Ring? That's odd. I guess maybe he figured, like, you know, I'm gonna bow one of his guys so he can't even defend. Or so he can't even attack. Which is fine. I use the Stronghold to cancel, to soak up Kasada's cancel. Then I just go to Shameful Display. And so here, what I do is I honor Satoshi and I dishonor the Heated Guardian. Now, what should have happened here, what he should have done, was he should have... Let's rewind this. He attacks, I defend, right? I draw cards. I trigger the Stronghold to take up Kasada's cancel. He, what did he do? What was his action? He passed. So maybe he should have just used the Guardian already. And then I go over to Shameful Display. Now, because he didn't use the Guardian, that first action that he had, that first window, well, I guess he still doesn't want to use it. I guess he just doesn't see me. He doesn't see what I'm doing. So I shameful display his Heated Guardian to make it dishonored. And then he passes and I assassinate the Heated Guardian to take away his last honor and win the game. So, shit. So, if I were him personally, what I would have done was as soon as he knew I had the talisman. So if I were him, I would have either just attacked with Shuichi and Kasada, or maybe you don't want to do that. So Kasada and the Guardian. But then once the Guardian's trigger was done, send him home with the favorable ground, because that way I couldn't dishonor and assassinate the Heated Guardian, and he'd still win the conflict at the end of the day. And then he'd bow my Vanguard Warrior, and then I have to play something from hand to even try an air ring, and it just gets messy real quick. I do think that he should have done the air ring anyway, just to get out of the danger zone. Like I'm very much like get out of the danger zone. That's my strategy whenever I'm dealing with stuff like this. But some people like to live on the edge. I think Schroed's just lived a little bit too on the edge in this match, and it bit him in the end. But to be honest, when you're talking about crab mirrors, Karada District, first to Karada District basically wins the game. And seeing 3 Iron Mines that almost completely neutered Way of the Crab for him, like I think he had a Way of the Crab the entire game. That's what I imagine. Just having these Iron Mines just around all the fucking time basically made it so that I was immune to Way of the Crab in its entirety. So that's game two, Crab Mirror. So that's a Scorpion game, a Crab game. Those are the two best clans in the game. Now I got one more for Crane, and I got two choices. I'm not sure which one to go with. One is a potentially more well-known Crane player, and the other is less well-known, still a very good player, but I think the game is a little bit more interesting. So I'll have a think on it, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.